I have a look at the first slide again?
Sure. Nope, I gotta go to the,
I just wanted to ask a question about that.
and now, I need to get it back. Okay.
So that one there, that's right. You see the line on the top? That's
Yep.
what long-term income support.
Oh, it's this one. Yep.
And the dotted line underneath that, which is very close to it, is not long-term.
Yep.
So I can think of the top line as a heavy dose,
Yep.
and the next one is a light dose.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can I then conclude, because the line doesn't shift that much when you get a really heavy dose, that the dose of the medicine, this particular dose doesn't matter? Like, let me give you an exaggeration. What I want to say is, suppose the black line was everybody who spent 1 week on welfare.
Yeah.
Their kids look much the same as the line above, where everybody spent 10 years on welfare, say,
Yeah.
exaggerating it. Because the lines are so close, it's really about some other factor, which welfare is just a
Yeah.
measure of that other factor.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
I actually think in this case that's probably right. So the top two lines, by and large, the things that distinguishes them are, these are families where there's really no working adult. The thing that the next line down, the blue line, are basically you've got one adult in low-paid work and the other one is receiving some sort of support. So the distinction is sort of between families in which neither parent are probably in work, both are somehow being supported, or there is only one parent, versus having at least one working parent in the household, even if it's a low-wage job, right? And then, so there's sort of, it's not just about dosages, but there's also sort of a bit of a family structure thing going on as well.
Is it family structure or family functioning?
Well, we don't really measure family functioning very well, although that's my hypothesis, actually, right? I think that basically, this is just so broad, and it shows up in things that you would sort of not immediately tie to income. So my favorite, for example, my husband teaches primary school, and what he will tell you is that a kid who doesn't show up to school on time is really a problem, because literacy is always taught in the first hour of the day, because that's when schools set aside literacy hour. So if your child isn't there for the first hour of every day, it's not just missing a bit. They may be getting no literacy whatsoever. Why is that related to income support history? I'm not sure it's necessarily an income story. My guess is it's just families who don't function well and can't get themselves organized to pay bills on time or get jobs, find it difficult to get children to school on time.
Okay, over here, and then David.
Yeah, sure, Deborah. Just picking up your point about it's not always about caring for education or their income in terms of causing generational welfare payments. You were saying, you stated that it was about parents investing in their children, and therefore you want to support priority supports healthier lifestyles and encourage better parenting. If that wasn't possible or feasible to actually getting parents to look after their children better or invest more into their children, would you support get the government funding, say after school care and extracurricular activities for children in low income and disadvantaged areas and schools?
Yeah, I do actually. So basically, and it's taken me a while to come to this view because it's a bit uncomfortable for an economist to be telling you, well, actually, I think it might be parenting, and it's not income. Right? It'd be much easier if I could just tell you it was income because you could just cut a check, right? But I think basically what needs to happen is there has to be an explicit focus on children. And the policies that we have are often targeted to the disabled parent, the unemployed parent, the whatever, okay? If you ask yourself, well, how could you imagine, I mean, what's the social institution that comes in contact with children the most regularly? Well, it's got to be your schools. And again, this makes me uncomfortable because my husband's a teacher, and he'll tell you he's there to teach, and they can't be all things to all people, etc. But it does seem to me that it's your school system, which is the interface between, you know, government and social agencies and children as clients. And so we have to think a bit more constructively about how we can use that. Now, that doesn't help you for everything that happens before school age. That's a whole other problem. But basically, I think that's right. And I think the sorts of reforms that are going to be important educationally are going to be these sort of holistic reforms that take on board the fact that kids are only in the classroom 6 hours of the day, and you know, there's no point setting homework if they don't have any place at home to do homework. And you know, I recognize that that's sort of a challenge because that's not what the teaching profession necessarily thinks they want to do. It's not what school educators think they want to do. But I can't think of any other institutional arrangement that's going to allow you to begin to start to focus directly on what's happening to kids in those families.
Well, I would venture to suggest that it's not an institutional solution we should be looking for, but would urge you to, well, I would just urge everybody to be confident in the fact that it is possible to get parents from the categories you're talking about to change parenting style, to invest heavily in children, and for children to demonstrate an internal locus of control, which, as you say, is essential for their future success in education. So that's a comment that just came out of this. And I think there is very, very good evidence to suggest that it is the home environment which is more powerful in breaking the intergenerational transmission. And it's finding that the means of influence in the family. But I wanted to pick up on the question that Greg raised there about family structure, because family structure has been a notion that has not been able to be discussed openly in forums such as this. And I think that teasing out family structure and family functioning one from the other is a critical
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So I have another project that's actually using US data, which I think the title of it's just going to be Fathers. But basically fathers, that's my title. Basically what the advantage of the adolescent health data is that you just, well, first of all, it's a health survey, so you have all kinds of additional stuff. But we have much more precise measures of family structure. I mean, you know, it's not just we know the dad's not there, but is there a father? We have information about how much contact. We have information about, you know, kids were asked questions about whether they actually did things with their father. Would they go to, how many times in the past month have they discussed particular problems? They report that also about any father figures in the household. So for some of these kids, we have information about how much interactions they have with their non-resident biological fathers, their stepfathers. And what we're attempting to do is sort out, not just, we can account for family structure, but then within that, we can also sort of say something about, okay, well, you know, some kids actually interact quite well with their fathers, even though their father's not in the household, and they talk to them all the time. And once we account for that, is it really the father actually living there, or is it sort of this interaction? And how does it matter whether there is or isn't a stepfather? How does it differ between siblings, some of whom are living with a biological dad, and then they have a half-sibling who's not? And so we're working pretty hard to sort of understand, at least in the context of this bit about interaction, either through talking about problems or actual sorts of activities, to try to say something more than just household structure matters.